Welcome back to Living Local. A sensory deprivation tank or flotation tank was designed in 1954 by an American physician and neuroscientist to study the origins of consciousness by cutting off all external stimuli. In the 1970s, commercial float tanks were created and began being studied for possible health benefits. These days, it's not hard to find a place that offers float therapy. We have one here right in the Quad Cities. Joining me in studio is Molly Price, the owner of Float Quad Cities. Thanks so much for being here, Molly.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So first of all, describe to us what exactly a float tank is and what it's like to be in one.
So basically what I have, I call it a big bathtub, or someone else has told me more like a walk-in closet. They're about 8 feet long, 8 feet tall, and 4.5 feet wide. It's filled with 11 inches of water and 1,100 pounds of Epsom salt. So it's this big, huge room. A lot of the, if you Google on the internet, a lot of them might look pretty small, but the ones I have 2 float rooms. They're really big. And so the point of all that is there's a lot of salt. It's very dense. You get in there and you float and you don't have to use any muscles. So that gets the gravity off your body and gives your body a break. And then the other part, the sensory deprivation part, is you can turn the light and the music off. So it's really dark and it can be really quiet. Those are optional. So what it's like, a lot of people say it's like being in outer space. You turn the lights off, you're just floating, you don't have to do anything. And it's just kind of a neutral environment, very supportive. It's just a place to rest and relax. It's really awesome.
And Molly, these were designed to study health benefits. So what are the health benefits associated with floating?
There are a lot of different things. The most common thing I hear is pain relief, because again, you're getting the gravity, this force on your body off of your body. So it gives your muscles and joints a chance to kind of reset. So people, and it helps lower inflammation because of that. So people all the time come out and tell me that the first time in their life they haven't had much pain. Some other things are, and they're doing a lot of research on this with anxiety and PTSD, it lowers cortisol levels. So people experience less stress. Muscle recovery, I have lots of athletes that float and their muscles feel better with the magnesium and everything. People use it to meditate. It's just it facilitates meditation better. Some people just take a nap in there for an hour.
I was going to ask, do people fall asleep?
Yep. And that's totally fine, because again, you cannot sink. Like if you get in there, you can try and turn yourself over. It's very, very buoyant. You cannot sink, so it's totally fine to fall asleep. Yeah, you really, I sleep in there all the time late at night. I'm like, I just need to
And that's completely safe.
Yep, completely safe. The worst that might happen is if your head falls to the side, you might get a little salt in your eyes, which stings, so you got to be careful about that. But
okay, so one question that people may wonder, are the tanks clean?
Yeah, we filter the water in between every person.
Okay.
And it's sanitized with UV and ozone, and then there's also hydrogen peroxide in the water as an additional oxidizer. Plus, just with all the salt, it's naturally inhospitable to bacteria. So, yeah, so between every person, so you're not like floating in
other people's water.
Yeah, it's a lot different than a public pool where you have a bunch of people and everything. Yeah, so
Molly, how often should someone use a float tank?
Well, what I tell people is, I get asked that a lot. I tell people to try something consistent at first that works within your budget. Floating is something you really need to try more than once, because it's just something so new for us that you know, and people come in and want to calm their mind, but you're still putting yourself in this new environment, new for your body, new for your brain, and it just takes us time to learn how to relax in general. So tell people at least come 2 or 3 times if you're hoping, or if you're wanting pain relief, or you know there's something that's drawing you to floating. Try it a couple times. But then as far as that, I tell people to try something consistent within their budget. So for some people that might be once a week, every other week, once a month. Because that kind of allows you to see what the benefits are for you and kind of be able to track those a little better with consistency. I have some people that come once a month and they can tell if they're a little late, oh, I really need to float, I missed my float, I'm feeling a little more stressful or more pain and things like that. So it's a lot easier to kind of track the benefits, because we're not always aware of those things. So
Right.
the other benefit I just remembered is there's a lot, but a lot of people, pretty much everyone sleeps better after their float because magnesium is critical for us, and we're so deficient in magnesium.
So we must absorb that then.
Yeah, some amount. I'm not entirely sure how much it is
Sure.
dependent on each person, but yeah, and just the rest. So people sleep better, and so I tell them to pay attention to that and then see how they feel the next day too.
So Molly, the first time that you ever experienced a float tank was about a couple years ago near Chicago. What made you want to bring this to the Quad Cities? Because at the time there was nothing like this in the Quad Cities.
Yeah, well, I actually decided to open the float center before I'd floated. I was on the way up to Chicago, and I kind of felt it was one of those things I was going to really like. I was kind of in between jobs and things, so I just thought I'll open a float center because I'm going to like it. I want to float more, and the Quad Cities we're open to alternative medicine. So I knew we'd like it, and we did. It's been crazy, busy, good, so a lot of people love
Molly,
it,
when someone comes in, they've never floated before, what's their reaction that you see most often when people come out after a session?
A lot of times people are just kind of like, whoa, like they're just chill. And it's kind of a weird feeling between being like totally relaxed and then also having energy. So sometimes my floats give me energy, and then sometimes you just want to go to bed. So it's kind of different every time, but it's kind of just, people usually want to go home and go to bed. They've never been that relaxed before. So, and that's usually the most common thing. They just feel better, oh, my headache went away, or my neck's not sore anymore, just things. I can move my arm further than I ever have.
So they're all positive reactions.
Yes. The majority of the time it's very positive reactions.
Wonderful. Molly, thank you so much for being here. We sure appreciate your time. You can check out Float Quad Cities Wednesday from 4 to 7, where you'll be able to walk through their float rooms and have your questions answered if you're curious about this, or you can visit floatqc.com. We'll also have all of these details posted on ourquadcities.com. Stay with us. More Living Local is next.